operative documents is a selection memo, which is what Maurice sent to me, because mine was not a selection memo. Mine was just a basis memo, all right? And the offer letters.
Well, but it was not just the basis letter. It was the required.
It was a basis. It was a very important. Yes.
Because, as Ken explained to you, without it, you could not.
And I knew that
get
it had
into the selection authority.
Yeah, and I signed it. Put it in my file. Okay.
Did you know or think that it needed to be in the contract file?
I wasn't thinking in those terms at that time.
The fact that Mr. Liu knew that the document was required and it wasn't in the time at posting, then in your opinion, as a contracts officer, Ms. Harada, that was a violation.
Yes.
Okay. And the fact that he knew, then it's an intentional knowing violation.
If he did know, yes.
It seemed to be just, as far as I can tell, one person in your department. Eileen was the only one in the department. It seemed clear that the director had the authority to grant, to approve or not approve, and the authority not to go beyond and select.
That is, we've already gone over and over and over, and if you're going to ask a question which starts off with someone who's, it's clear that that's what she thought, then that's an improper question, and I have to advise me.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I didn't say that it was clear that that was her impression. It was my impression. And my impression may be wrong. We'll have to check and I said that.
We already know what the document says.
I really take offense to your attorney making comments that are beyond the role of your attorney.
It's not beyond the role, Senator. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When the questions devolve into pure argument, that's absolutely the role of attorney to make objections and to make statements.
Your objections are noted, Mr. Winoff. Let's talk about the notification letters. This is a memo from Maurice Kaya.
Yes.
He says, Ted, I've been thinking of the non-selection letter over the weekend. Perhaps you should reconsider the language highlighted below. My concern is that it implies that the final selection was made outside explicit criteria and may be risky if we face a selection challenge. I know it may not convey what you wish, but perhaps we should be conservative on anything in writing in the event that there is a challenge.
Maurice, the good soldier that he is, the good professional that he is, give thought to it. He gave me his advice. I accepted his advice.
In the next email, you actually respond to Maurice and you say, I struggled with the statement, yours is much better, go with it.
Right.
So my question to you is, why would you struggle over a routine letter and you place a lot of thought, a lot of going back and forth, and yet a justification letter that was so important, nobody sees it, nobody wordsmiths it, nobody talks about it, there's no paper trail.
And could it have been that you signed it later and dated it August 7th?
I don't think so. No, this one, there's no reason to. This came in. I was informed it was going to come in. This was the dissection. I mean, why? No. Yes.
On 8/8.
Right.
Bright and early in the morning. Congratulations. I just signed the selection of H2 Energy as the state's partner for the Hydrogen Program Fund. Congratulations. Formal letter is on the way out. Please await before any public announcement. We need to coordinate our messages. So you contacted the winner prior to the public posting of
But you insisted you signed the letter on the 7th. It says here, I just signed it, and it's 8/8 at 7:54 a.m. in the morning.
Well,
I mean, we asked you several times.
the previous evening, I just signed. Look, is it plausible that I signed it on the 7th and bright and early on the 8th?
And could it have been that you signed it later and dated it August 7th?
I don't think so. No, this one, there's no reason to.
But why would you send an email saying, I just signed it, before you even gave it to your
Because it's
staff?
easier to say that than I signed yesterday afternoon. Your investigation of why has to start with me, which obviously you have. But I signed it on the 6th. I signed it on the 7th. I was done.
Staff receives it and says, Ted signed the Evaluation Committee recommendation memo and sent it back to AASO at 8:47 a.m. today, 8/8 according to DocuNet. You contact Rachel before you even let your staff know officially of your selection. Why would you inform the bidder before you even officially inform your staff of the selection?
I mean, it seems like this is happening really quick and boom, boom, boom. And I still can understand why Ken Kitamura had to wait weeks for that very important document that he was waiting on. I mean, this one is like, okay, we sign it, we send it to staff, we notify people, And again, Ken is asking you repeatedly for the justification letter, and he's not getting it. It seems like some letters are real important, and it's a critical piece of information.
There's nothing about it. The more I think about it, that was my document. And I guess the best I can say is that I probably should have responded to Ken when he first asked. And probably what was going on in my mind was, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it, and I didn't get to it until later.
Well, that answers the question. I mean,
It was in my
basically, it doesn't appear that you ever gave it to anyone. You thought you did.
Not at that time. I mean, it might be the case that around the dates, August 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that whole period of time,
Let me ask you, did anyone see it? Did it ever come out of your file before that? To that maybe someone saw it. And then at least it places the basis memo earlier someplace.
I don't really know.
Okay.
Ken told me to go and check and see if it was in Dawn's file. So I went to go and talk to Dawn about that. And it was when I was trying to obtain those documents that she indicated to me that the justification document had not been written until much later, or at the time that the award was made.
So that led you to believe that the document, that document itself was not written at the time it was signed on August 6th?
Yes.
So when Mr. Kitamura asked you for it numerous times as he testified to us, you just ignored him? Because he said he didn't see it till around the time of the protest.
And unfortunately, I probably do this more often than I should. So I'll get to it. I mean, I felt that I was going to it was going to get down to everybody sooner or later. As soon as I had crystallized in my mind who I thought I should pick, I talked to Maurice about it on the 3rd. Again, why wouldn't I?
Within 24 hours, he calls you with his decision. You think that was a little quick for him to make a decision?
It's pretty fast, yeah.
Would think that you would want a process in which everyone is treated equally, and you send an email to the third ranking bidder that you selected up at 7:54. So I just signed the selection. You had
I've been accused.
Special treatment.
I was relieved that we had finally made a selection, made a decision. We're moving on.
But you said you made that selection on the 3rd already.
Well, in terms of signing it, I talked to Maurice and I advised him of my preliminary.
You already addressed the letters back on the 3rd. The selection letters
Back and forth.
to Rachel and to Kolohala was done on the 3rd.
So this is Steve saying, according to Sean's reading, you have two choices.
Yeah.
Award the contract to Kolohala, or discredit the committee's work and determine that new criteria to be used.
And that's what I mean.
And then it further says, it appears to me the allegations raised during the hearing are sufficient to disband the committee and start over. In addition, the committee started out as 4 and ended up as 3 members, and this in itself may be enough to justify invalidating the committee. Please give direction regarding a public statement, as it no doubt set a tone for the next hearing. So this was just about a month before the memo that you wrote to Aaron Fujioka. This does appear to justify the statements made by Joelle Simon Pietri by canceling the contract. Your threat made to Joelle in the presence of her husband that no one's going to get the contract would be realized.
So Steve Breschneider emails me October the 3rd, and according to Joelle, I see her sometime in January.
No, I think it goes to the intent of what you were trying to accomplish. You're looking for ways. This committee is challenged with talking to a number of people and parsing and going through a lot of words to determine what happened. And so we're listening to you, we're looking at your statements, we're looking at these other people's statements, and there are conflicting statements from a variety of people. And so, we will do our best to sort out those conflicts in the statements and to try to look at the totality of the situation and come to some determination. So I appreciate your patience. I know it's been long.